Guess what, everybody? We're back. Yes, indeed, we're back. We're back at the Solomon Project, where it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep that counts. I'm your host, Richard Burns. My apologies for being away for so long. I had a little bit, I'm gonna call it a little bit of a health scare. So I wound up going to the doctor. Yeah, I've been under the weather, but I wound up going to the doctor, and all these gadgets are on me, and then smoke starts coming out of the gadgets, and alarm bells start going off. And here comes the doctor telling me, because this is a walk-in clinic, this isn't a hospital, and the doctor's telling me, I'm calling the ambulance, you have to go to the ER immediately. I said, well, wait a minute, what you mean, yo? He says, yeah, I'm sorry, but because of what I'm seeing, from what the gadgets are telling me, yeah, you gotta go to the ER immediately. Brother, I don't even know how you're alive. This is what she said. Then she starts asking me, do you feel something here? Do you feel that? What about this? And I said, no, I don't feel any of those things that you're saying, with the exception of the fingers you're using to probe me. I do feel that. So somehow I convinced everybody that I can make it to the hospital by myself. So no ambulance was called, but she kept telling me, listen, this is serious. Because of the way I was responding, she didn't think that I was taking it seriously. I was, but in my mind, there's nothing I could do about it at the moment. So I'm just gonna continue being me. It took a while to convince her that I would drop. Excuse me. I guess I still got the cooties, but I'm a whole lot better now. But yeah, she said, no, I need to make sure that you go to the ER. Listen, I know you're under the impression that I'm not serious, that I'm not taking you seriously, but trust and believe, I'm going to get over there and I'm going to take care of business. Now, I had caught COVID a couple of times, and I don't know if this condition that I have now is associated, because I do remember hearing that there were effects, lingering effects from catching COVID, and I'm not sure if that's the case with me. They did ask, hey, did you ever have this condition or that condition before? Not COVID related, other things. I said, no, nope. I've been all good. Are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, no, you gotta go to the ER. Okay. So I've been missing out on creating content. I've been missing out on exchanging with some of my folks that I interact with here on YouTube. I've been missing out. And I got a lot of catching up to do, because I learned from all these people, everybody. It's a long list. It's a laundry list of people that I engage with here through YouTube. So it's basically like being part of a family. Aside from my condition, I'm curious to know how your condition is financially. It is my suspicion that we're going to enter into some difficult times. It's my suspicion. I can't predict the future. Nobody can. And one simple meeting can change a lot of things. Or something that's said in a meeting could change many things. Or it can cause a domino effect where a lot of things get affected. If you lived through 2008, if you were an adult during 2008, 2009, when we had that global crisis as an adult, that would have served as a lesson. However, that lesson would have to be tapped into, or you would have to reflect on what happened to you during those times to make it so that you do things to help avoid being in a terrible situation, if you were in a terrible situation back then. And 2008, 2009 wasn't the only event. Of course, we had everything that happened as a result of COVID, the shutdowns. So if you were an adult in 2008, 2009, you didn't just go through that, you went through what happened during the pandemic. All of these things are supposed to serve as lessons for you. That is, if you remember what you went through. It's unfortunate, but a lot of people get easily distracted and forget. And it's by design. The design is to get as much power out of everybody as possible at all times. So you're the only person that can protect yourself from that. You're the only person that can defend yourself from being convinced into giving up your power. I'm talking about outside of your obligations. You need shelter. However, what type of shelter? You need food. What kinds of food? You need clothing. What kind of clothing? Because even with the things that you need, not want, need, even with the things that you need, entities that want your power have you convinced so that you would give up more of your power than you need to. A good pair of pants. Does it have to be brand name? I just finished saying a good pair of pants. A good pair of pants doesn't require that it be a brand name pants. Doesn't require that. You can get good quality pants without the brand name. It'll cost you less because it doesn't have a brand. But the people that are trying to convince you, or the entities that are trying to convince you to spend more, are very clever. Very clever. They want your decision to be attached to something emotional. So it's not just about a good pair of pants. It's not just about that. It's got to have an identifier. It's got to have a brand that could be identified by others, so that you can feel like you fit in. Fit in with other people who have been convinced by clever means. So it's almost like a virus. One person has that emotional link to their decision-making process for things that don't require your emotions, but it's there. And part of what that virus does, part of what that process does, is to make you a beacon for others to accept this approach. So now, a good pair of pants, once you have that emotional element, it can't just be a good pair of pants. It has to be a good pair of pants with the identifier, with that stamp, with that brand, with that stitching. Something that identifies exactly what you got, so that others who are infected can say, oh yeah, look, they're one of us. And then they get you to put up more of your power than you need to. It probably holds true with houses as well. People want to buy a house so badly. People who have bought houses well, I'll ask you, how many people do you know would, I don't want to say discourage, but when you mention the fact that you want to purchase a home, how many people do you know that would tell you what the cons are of owning a home? Because there are cons. It's not all gravy. It's not all great. They might tell you after you buy the house, oh, you're going through this? Well, get ready, because you're going to go through that. Huh? I asked myself, well, couldn't we have had this conversation before I purchased the home? Couldn't we have spoken about how the mortgage increases after 3 years or so? Or even after 7 years? Couldn't we have had this conversation? Couldn't we have the conversation about the difference between putting down 0% as opposed to putting down 20%? Couldn't we have had this conversation before I bought the home? What about the fact that an assessment is made on the value of my home every year. You couldn't have told me about that? So that I could weigh things out? Couldn't we have made a comparative analysis of renting as opposed to acquiring a mortgage? Because once again, there are entities out there that will convince you to give up more of your power than what you need to. Is renting bad? Now that I bring it up? No, not at all. The fact that you don't own the property, well, there are plenty of upsides of not being an owner. Plenty. But you don't perceive it that way because it's not explained that way. It's not explained that way. But there's a whole lot more going on with entities trying to convince you to give up more of your power than what you need to. Than what you need to. There's a lot of instability because of how this administration is handling things. One big one is or are the threats of applying what do you call it, against our allies, Mexico and Canada, tariffs. No matter whether you think it's a good idea or not, the bottom line is that it is creating a condition. If the tariffs go through, yes, there are many things that are going to increase in price. And let's not forget, that was a major concern for people. It's about the economy. It's about inflation. That was a big deal. Well, these tariffs will create inflation in the beginning. But it could flip around and become deflation. Remember in my previous videos I was talking about deflation and how damaging deflation is. And it can flip into that because if tariffs are implemented, see, let me add to the narrative of what occurs or what could occur with the tariffs. So you have the tariffs, and it's going to cause prices to go up on some goods. So it doesn't just impact us, the consumers, but it also impacts businesses. Right now, there are tons of businesses that have their hands tied. They don't know what to do next. They have to allocate money in certain areas of their company in certain ways to stay competitive and to make a profit. So, not knowing who's going to get hit with tariffs, when they're going to get hit with tariffs, if they are going to get hit, it keeps businesses in suspense. They need information in order. They need to know so that they can allocate whatever funds they need to allocate in whatever areas of the company that they need to. Which makes matters worse for us, the consumers. So a lot of people are on hold, investors are on hold, businesses are on hold. There are people becoming unemployed in large numbers. There's an effort, and I don't know how well that's going with the gathering of the immigrants, with this immigration process that we have going on. I don't know how well. I don't know how that's going. I don't know how that's progressing. And again, there's another uncertainty. So the business community is kind of like holding back. But these are all things that you should have been prepared for had you lived through 2008 as an adult, 2008, 2009. And if you're older than that, then there are more things that you should have remembered, and the pain associated with those times, if you went through any pain. Because if you were in New York City in the 70s, and you were a working class person, you went through a rough time. That should have been a reminder. 87 was another time that should have served as a reminder. 2000 should have served as a reminder. See, I'm old enough. I went through all that. And I never forgot. And I know when I throw these two words, discipline and consistency, they're just words. They're just words. But when it comes time to applying those words toward your financial stability, I acknowledge that that's not easy. That's not easy at all. What helps me is drawing from the pain that I went through. That helps me a lot. I eliminated things that distracted me, and that helped a lot. I'm in a better place now because I drew on that pain. Not to relive it, that's not the point. But to serve as a reminder. Just like when I drive on the road. There are highways or stretches of highway in certain parts of the nation where I stay on the left lane when I know that trucks are expected to be in the right lane, but I stay on the left lane. Why? Okay, here's a good example. I-95 in South Carolina. There's a stretch of I-95 in South Carolina where there are so many holes and so many bumps in the right lane. You can wind up with a kidney in your mouth by the time you're done with that stretch, bouncing all over the place. You'll be wearing, if you have fluids in your car, you'll be wearing it. Now, because I only needed to wear my coffee one time to know that the next time that when I go down this stretch of road, I'm going to be on the left side. Because the left side is smooth. But the right side is tore up. But it's the same. It's the same with your financial condition. Although the difference is that you're pounded every day, every waking hour. Even, well, if you have a device on at night that has music or news or something, you're going to get hammered while you're sleeping too. Because the marketers are out there making sure that subconsciously you're ready to give up your power. And when I talk about power, I'm talking about your money. You're ready to give it up. You're ready to give it up. This is a longer one than what I had anticipated. But if you made it to the end, thank you. I would like you to stay fresh and keep it profitable. Oh, and by the way, I got to check to see if the soap arrived from the professor. That's going to be interesting. All right, y'all. I'm going to let you go, let you do your thing. Again, stay fresh, keep it profitable. And I'll catch up with all y'alls again.
Arabam Dacia, seviyorum çift kalem aça. Göremedi kimseden fayda. İşler